not to scare anyone, but we're already halfway through the year. So here are my favourite books so far this year. All of these books are 4 stars or above. Unfortunately, there's only one 5-star. It's been a bit of a rough year. I'm gonna go through it chronologically because it just makes my life a lot easier. We're gonna start with 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo by Taylor Jenkins Reid. I read Daisy Jones and the Six, and that took over my whole personality for like a year straight. So I knew I needed to read this one next. It's also a massive booktok book anyway, so it was kind of like, no doubt. It's based in the 80s, and you're essentially watching her climb her way up the Hollywood ladder. But it's called The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo because she has to marry all these different men. Because to be fair, some of them she does believe she's in love, but some of them it's also just a way to get her to the top of the ladder, which it's not what you can do for misogyny, it's what misogyny can do for you. Gave this a 4.5 stars. I listened to it on audiobook, I didn't actually physically read it. And I do believe if I'd physically read the whole thing, I wouldn't have enjoyed it as much. I think I just really liked how well the audiobook was done. The voice actor was exactly how I imagined Evelyn's voice, which was kind of crazy. And you go between past and present. This girl comes to interview Evelyn for a magazine about her life and no one else knows what happened. So it's kind of like a really big deal. And Evelyn's like, I specifically want this one journalist to do it. It's the first time Evelyn's ever told anyone what really happened in her past. Obviously it's fictional, but it's quite eye-opening to the realities of Hollywood. I feel like we know a lot of Hollywood is fake, but you don't realise quite how much. And this probably is only the tip of the iceberg anyway. Got a good mystery aspect to it as well because I'm not gonna spoil it, just read it, it's good. So I just clipped my hair up a little bit because it was piercing me right out. The favourite is by Layne Fargo. First of all, Sprayed Edge, the Works edition. I was not gonna not get her. Yeah, no. If you like Daisy Jones and the Six, you're gonna love this. It's the exact same toxic, back and forth, striving to be the best. So we're following, what is her name? We're following Heath and Kat, and they're basically childhood lovers. They both do ice skating, and obviously there's a whole lot of depth to that you do get, but I'm not going to go into that. And you're watching them come into their adult life, still doing ice skating, trying to go to the Olympics, the things that life throws at them. It's really, really interesting. Friendship issues, relationship issues, sexuality issues, like everything comes into this book. And once again, it flicks between past and present. It's nothing I love more than a book that goes between past and present and is in interview style. Someone's interviewing them, they say one thing happened, you flick to the past, and they're probably lying 90% of the time, and it's always so funny and it's just so like real because no one wants to admit their faults. I actually said in my Goodreads review, this captivated me. If you like Carrie Soto, definitely give this a go. Carrie Soto is also a book by Taylor Jenkins Reid. But then the only thing I said is, only critique could have been shorter. I think it could have been 400 pages honestly, but I don't mind that it was 500 because I did enjoy it all. But some parts that you're just like kind of felt a bit unnecessary, but you know, as a whole, really great book. My friend just pissing me off. If you want to feel inspired, if you're a feminist, if you love women who don't stop for no one or nothing, Kat is your girl. I had a gift card for the Waterstones and I kind of got it because I'd seen people speak about it. I'm always intrigued to see the cover of it, but I'd never wanted to spend my own money on it. I wasn't really sure if I'd like it. Blue Sisters by Coco Mellors. I gave it 4 stars. I absolutely loved it. I loved it, man. This is about 3 sisters and then 1 dead sister, and it's on the year anniversary of the death, and the 3 sisters meet up. It's their first time meeting up since the sister's death actually. So you're just watching 3 completely different sisters have to come together again. But not only did the death of their sister bring them together, the death of their sister also brought them apart in the first place. Each chapter flips between the perspectives of each sister, so you get to see each of their lives, their own personalities, their own issues. I would maybe look at the trigger warnings because you do definitely get some addiction, mental health is quite heavy in this book. But that's why I loved it. It's so raw, it's so real, it's written so beautifully. Did I cry? Yes. Is it really sad and hard hitting? 100% yes. But I feel like books just need that. Too many books skirt around the edges. This goes straight in full steam ahead and I loved it so much. There's not really a goal for this story, for this plot. This is the only 5-star I've had this year. Just Friends by Hayley Pham. Am I biased? 110%. If it wasn't written by Hayley Pham, do I think I would have even picked it up? Probably not. And you guys know I'm not a big romance person, which is why I was honestly kind of scared going into it, and also because the reviews were quite mixed. I'm just so proud of Hayley Pham because I've watched her for about 2 years now. I've been watching her like little clips on Instagram of her writing the book, and it's so fun to be like, I have her book. I have the physical book. I did buy the Kindle version and I actually refunded and bought the physical because I wanted to have the first edition, which has the little note in the front. I love her. I actually love her. We're following Blair and Declan, who were childhood lovers. They go about a decade maybe not speaking. Blair moves back home because her auntie's dying and she wants to help her mum with that, and that's when she runs into Declan again because he still lives in his hometown and he runs a cafe. Blair ends up getting a job at the cafe because she needs money, she needs a job while she's there. If you don't like miscommunication, which usually I don't, this was a really well done one because it's not super dragged out. It's not really like annoyingly miscommunication, it's more like natural miscommunication that feels a bit more realistic and a bit more just like there's a fear there. So you know the miscommunications where it's like the character goes to say something and then they cut themselves off and then they're like, oh, never mind. I hate that. I hate it. Why would you tease me like that? I experienced every emotion from laughing to crying. Oh yes, I forgot this. Because the auntie was dying, there was quite a lot of grief. As someone experiencing grief, I've never read a book which portrayed it so perfectly before. From detailed emotions to physical experiences and objects, I feel like the memories were plucked straight from my head. I'm like, oh, okay, so like Hayley knows what she's talking about, because you know like you can tell some authors haven't actually researched. We're gonna do two together now. So I then have House of Sky and Breath, which is the second Crescent City book. I gave that a 4 stars, and then I also finished the third one as well, which I gave also a 4.5 maybe. Actually I gave this one, yeah. If you haven't read ACOTAR, you haven't read Throne of Glass, you probably haven't then read Crescent City. This is the third series in the Sarah J Maas universe, and these are the last 2 books in the third series. You know what I mean? So I'm not going to go too far into it just because there's no point if you haven't read the other ones. If you like yourself Game of Thrones, if you like yourself really heavy, thick, dense fantasy that constantly has action, what puts a lot of people off Crescent City is that it's a modern day fantasy, so they have technology. A lot of people are like, I struggle to get into it because of the whole modern day aspect. I loved it. I got straight into these books. I had no problem whatsoever reading the series. I feel like everything you can say about this book is technically a spoiler. So the next one I gave a 4.5 stars. So good. I am through and through a Magnolia Parks girly. How stunning is this edition? Oh, so cute. Which meant I was obviously going to read all her other books. I've never ever read a Jessa Hastings book that I don't like. So I was like, I'm obviously gonna read Never. I got this in the charity shop. I can't tell you how gassed I was to find a hardback Jessa Hastings book in the charity shop. The artwork. Are you kidding me? This is a Peter Pan retelling, so this is Neverland. I didn't realise how much I needed a Peter Pan retelling in my life. I felt the magic in my soul. I felt the sparks in my soul. It was so fun. It was so interesting. It was so magical. I literally felt like I was transported back to my childhood reading this. If there's one thing I also really like, it is a really dark fantasy fairy tale. Daphne, who is essentially Mary in the original Peter Pan, but I think Mary's either her mum or her grandmother. Every woman in her family has had Peter come to their house, as he does in the film, take them away to Neverland, but it's been a couple years since Peter should have arrived for Daphne and he still hasn't. And then eventually one night he turns up until she gets to Neverland and something's not quite right. She's got bad vibes. Peter's not quite as nice as she hoped he'd be. He's flirting with her, they're getting it on, and then he'll like just be a bad person and she's like, okay, this is not the life I was promised. Like, what is going on, Peter? What are you doing, man? Get over here. She also meets Hook, who is called Jamie, and Hook is his dad. In the film, Peter's the goodie, Hook's the baddie. But in this book, they've both got pros and cons, and essentially it's a love triangle. If there's one thing I love, it's a situationship. Guilty, I love it. It's so interesting. And I love that they both had pros and cons. It wasn't a clear Hook is better and Pam's worse. It was quite a fair, there was still that really magical childhood fairy tale feeling. But then there was that really dark, what secret is Peter Pan got hidden, which first of all, this ending was diabolical. I forgot Jessa Hastings has never written a happy ending in her life. This ending, I was sat in public. I was sat in public. I had to like, I was like, it was, there's lots of dark inklings and it's a very freaky but equally it's still like magical vibes. I don't know, I could talk about this book all day. I think every girlie on earth has watched Off Campus this year. so your girl did so too. I read The Deal by Elle Kennedy because how was I going to watch the show and not read it? Got the work sprayed edition. I really wanted to read it before I watched it just to get the full experience. The show was amazing, the book was amazing, but how they can call it an adaptation, I'm not too sure, because low-key the show was so different, not even in a bad way. It's like a lot of the main plot points weren't even in the book, and I was like, oh, not sure where they got this from. Okay, obviously they do it because it makes the show better in their opinion. I'll give you a time to skip to if you don't want a spoiler. Book Garrett would have never ever broken up with Hannah under any circumstances. This man kissed the floor she walked on. But in the show, he was the one to break up with her. With reasons that were for her advantage, but he wouldn't have done it. This is a ice hockey college romance. Honestly, you've probably all read it. Is it worth me really describing it? Probably not, mate. Fake dating, that's an important trope in this book. I gave every single Cruel Prince book 4 stars, but the series isn't a 5-star series. I'd still say it was only a 4-star series. If there's anything that I love in life, it's a prequel. Literally what I've just said about about this. If there's one thing I love in life, it's a prequel. It's a dark backstory. It's finding out how the villain came to be a villain, and that's exactly what this is. So in The Cruel Prince, Carden is the cruel prince and he's just a horrible person basically, but he ends up falling in love with our main female character and he ends up being a nicer person, and this tells you how he came to be the cruel prince. A very, very short like picture book, which is honestly what drew me to it. Are you kidding me? Is that not the most beautiful thing you've ever seen? Oh my god, I love this one as well. So cute. And last but not least, we've got Lightlark by Alex Astor. This was immaculate. Considering I've not read a fantasy book that's not by Sarah J Maas in about 2 years, because ever since I started ACOTAR, I ditched every fantasy and I just rammed my way through the Sarah J Maas universe. This is very similar to Powerless, to Hunger Games. We've got 6 realms and each ruler of the realm comes together. 100 years, the island of Lightlark appears for only 100 days to host a deadly game where the rulers of 6 realms fight to break their curses and win unparalleled power. To break them and save themselves and their realms, one ruler must die. If they fail, they have to wait another 100 years to break the curse. So it's quite a big deal. And Isla, who is the girl we're following, is a powerless ruler, but no one knows. So her whole thing is trying to pretend she's not powerless. There's a lot of lies and deceit. There's a lot of betrayal in this book. There is also a love triangle, which I love to see. And I don't think I will continue this series because as much as I loved this book, I don't think I care much for what happens next. So they are all my highest rated books so far this year. Unfortunately, only 1 5-star, but fingers crossed for the rest of the year. I feel like I'm back on my reading grind at the minute, so I should be okay. Fingers crossed. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in my next video. Love you.